Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Perseverance Marimeni, also known as Madam Speaker, also known as the CEO of Self-Love. Okay, I need to add something onto that intro, okay, because I would not be doing justice to myself if I did not mention in every video that I am now YouTube Black Voices Fund recipient. I am class of 2023. I mean, how amazing is that? I mean, only 10 months into this YouTubing thing, and I made it to YouTube Black Voices Fund. That's amazing, man. That's some really, really amazing stuff. So I have to add that onto my intro, okay? I mean, that's a flex, and it's a fact. It's a flex and a fact. Anyway, so today we're doing part 2 of the Q&A. Remember in the previous video I had said that if anybody has a question, a follow-up question about me being divorced for a year and everything and how that has been like, you're more than welcome to ask your questions in the comment section. Then I'm gonna do a part 2, and if then it be for me to do a part 3, I will do that, and part 4 to infinity and beyond. For as long as questions are coming, answers are gonna come. But then guys, please make sure that you watch video number 1 so that you don't ask questions that I've already answered on that video, okay? So because this is gonna be like some sort of like a series, you're gonna have to binge watch and then catch up and then keep going, right? So the first question that I'm gonna be asking from the first video that I did, I even pinned it to the very top because, like I said, I promise that I'm gonna be very open and honest when I answer these questions, and I'm not even gonna try and make myself look good, you know, because I don't have to do that. No pressure from myself to look good all the time. If I have to carry the cross and look like a bitch, then I can do that. But if I have to look like an angel, then it's also okay. It depends on the weather. It depends on the way the wind is blowing. But today, with the first question that I'm gonna answer to, this question is coming from Let's Cook and Bake. I even pinned it to the top because I loved it so much. The question says, you said you love your stepdaughter and still do till today. Do you think that maybe someday when you are financially stable enough, when you have sorted things out in your life, you might consider taking her back and live with her again? Because I think maybe she misses you, that motherly love she received from you from those few years that you stayed with her, especially since her mother is late. Yeah, this is really something which is very close to my heart, and I'm gonna try to answer this as honest and open and as truthful as I can be. It's not everybody who's going to like me after this one. Listen, when I was still staying with that child, I had already made peace in my heart that this is my child, okay? I never saw her like a child that came with her father. But remember, the reason why I took her to stay with me was because of her father, right? I loved her because she was lovable. She made it easy for me to parent her, making it easy for me to parent my other kids because they had somebody who is a good sister to look up to, right? So me being a mother to her was such a beautiful thing, and me having to ask them to come and fetch her because I was not coping, because I was stressed, because I feel like I was dying, it's not something that I am proud of even today. It's something which is very painful. Like I said in the previous video, that when they came to fetch her, I really felt like a part of me left. I felt like I was losing a daughter for the second time, right? But it clicked in my mind that I honestly do not have to suffer and bear things that are not mine, you know. In as much as I love this child is not my responsibility. The shock of my life when, after they came to fetch her, the dad sent her to the mother side of the family where they're not really well off, was really something that broke my heart. But it was also a wake-up call at the same time, because this guy can stay with the child. Somebody in his family can stay with the child. There are people who are well off than me in the family who could have easily taken the child in and stayed with her, but nobody did that. And I'm not going to judge anybody for not doing that, because honestly they didn't do that because the child is not their responsibility. The person who is actually responsible for this child is the father, because that is the only living parent, okay? So when nobody saw the need to feel some type of way to take the child and stay with there, then I was like, oh, okay, so that means I'm the stupid one. But because I did it from the bottom of my heart, I honestly did not mind staying with the child. But as things stand right now, obviously things are not good between me and the family, okay, especially the dad side of the family. And with things not being good, I feel like it would be setting myself up for failure if I were to take the child in to stay with me, because I mean, before the child left, I was being accused of being a bad mother. So if anything happens to the child, God forbid, then I'm gonna have to carry the weight. I'm gonna have to carry the responsibility, and I'm going to just be the evil stepmother, even though I was doing a good job raising the child. I don't want that pressure. I don't need that pressure right now. I can't say I've been a mother to her because I've not been staying with her. If really I was a mother to her, then I was not going to be able to survive or cope without staying with her. But I've been doing just fine. You know, my heart would be painful from time to time when she would call, or they would call each other with the siblings, but there's nothing I can do. The person who is actually responsible for all these three children and making sure that they are united and they keep together, it's the father. And the father, if he's not doing that, then there's nothing I can do about it. So even if things were to get back to normal and I were to be okay and I would be financially stable and I would just be 100%, I would not take the child and stay with her, because as the days are going by, this family is becoming more of a stranger to me, and because we have a bad history, me staying with her would never be a good idea. Okay, because remember where my heart was when I took this child in. This was my husband's child, which I took like my child. Now my husband, or my ex, now my husband is my ex-husband, who is now a stranger to me, meaning that anything that is attached to him is strange to me. His mother is not my mother anymore. His sister is not my sister anymore. In fact, we have no meeting, me and that guy, anymore, except for these two kids that we have together. So anything else that does not say anything about these two kids that we have together, remember, even the court does not recognize this child as my child. That is one thing that actually broke my heart. So because of that reason, I have no business interfering in anything whatsoever that has anything to do with this child. Like, I'm not about to be Mam Kize, who is staying with Svahle. You understand what I mean? I could change my mind at a later stage for whatever reason. So I always open that room up. I always leave that room for changing my mind, because I'm allowed to change my mind. But as things are standing right now, me looking into the future, as I'm standing where I'm standing right now, I don't see myself taking this child in. You know, painful as it may be, loving her as I may be loving her right now, I don't love her as a daughter anymore, because if I was loving her as a daughter, I would not be eating and being fine and being happy without her. I love her as a child, you know, just like any other child that I loved in this home when I came in. There are still kids that still come here and say hi to me. I love them. I would love her as well. As much as I love those kids, she can come and say hi. But for me to take that responsibility again from the same guy that I've been relieving myself from this responsibility of just carrying the load alone, that would not be a good idea. I don't even think I would ever want to torture myself like that. Don't get me wrong, okay? Me staying with this child was such a bliss. It was such an amazing experience. I learned a lot about myself as a person, as a mother, through that child. But with the way things are right now, I don't see myself taking that child back into my life. You know, I feel like the best thing that needs to happen to this child is for the father to take her in. You know, I would love her from a distance. I would love her to have a good relationship with my kids. I would not chase her away if she was to come visit me, but I just don't want to be responsible for other people's kids anymore. I've reached that point in my life where I just need to put myself first, which is something that I've never known how to do. And now that I've arrived here to a point where I put myself first, I'm loving it here. And I'm not about to take that away from myself, because literally for me it feels like me having to now do things that I used to do in the past is me now saying I'm going back. All the work that I did to build myself, to get to know myself, to heal, and everything in between, all of that work, I'm saying that I'm throwing it in a dustbin and I'm going back to my old gullible self, my old self that everybody can take advantage of. You know, because obviously the first person who will be looking at me like, oh, this stupid fool, or oh, this person, whatever, it's the father of the child. Because in the beginning, when I took the child, it was for the sake of the father. Now the father does not appreciate. The father never appreciated. I only saw that at the last stages. But I'm not about that, you know. It's not about him now. It's about me deciding whether I want to continue being used without anybody even asking me, you know, without anybody saying, listen, we want you to do this. Me just doing it voluntarily. No, I've reached a point in my life where I don't want that anymore. What I want for myself is comfort. I want comfortability for myself and these two kids that I've bought. I will love everybody else, but me, I come first, my kids come after me, and everybody else comes after that. So if it's comfortable for me to take the child in the future, I will. Right now, it doesn't feel comfortable. It doesn't feel like something that I would want to do. And for now, it is just like that. It is just like that. Okay, that was painful. That was hard. I hope you guys don't hate me after this, but that's just me being honest, because I would want to lie to you now and say that, nah, I'm gonna take the child in. You know, the Lord is watching. God is, but no, I don't want to lie. I don't want to lie. I'm not thinking about it. I'm not considering it. I don't see it happening, you know. Okay, now I'm gonna move on to the next one. Guys, so I'm just browsing through, so I'm gonna have to skip a lot of questions because some of them are not even questions, it's just comments and all that stuff. So yeah, man, what is the next one? Okay, somebody, this is just a comment, right? I'm just gonna read it because I feel like it's holding water. It's saying that it's from Catch Up with Lee. Financial abuse is a good reason to divorce, in my opinion. In addition, financial abuse starts during the dating period and becomes more legally detrimental once you marry. It's a very dangerous thing. Let me tell you something about this financial abuse which we see from the dating stages. Remember, when you're still dating somebody and you're not staying with them full time, you don't care how much money they spend on you because they're not your problem. So meaning that if somebody is irresponsible financially and they're spending on you in the beginning stages, during the dating stages, you don't see that as somebody who is irresponsible. You see that as somebody who really wants to spoil you, somebody who wants you to have a nice life, somebody who just wants you to take care of you, fully. And that's what women want. Women want a man who can take care of them. So one thing that I always used to say about my ex is that if he's not doing stuff for you, then he's doing it for somebody else, because some people just want to keep doing stuff for women, and they do stuff to a point where they don't even know where the next meal is going to come from. So I only learned that this person is an irresponsible person when it comes to spending after we now started being in a relationship, like a serious relationship where we have to stay together. Because remember, when we were not staying together, when I see him spending, he would not then come back to me and say, listen, I'm out of money, I'm actually owing this, I'm owing that. I mean, I see somebody who would rather spend on me than pay debts, and I would not even know he's not paying debts. I thought maybe he's just spoiling me because there's plenty where it's coming from. There's no plenty. Actually, he's giving you money that is supposed to be paying something. He's not being responsible other places, you understand? So during the dating stages, it was there, but I didn't see it as that. I only started seeing it as that when we got married now, to say, hey, Vanna, Kanti, the money which was supposed to be paying electricity is the one which was buying Lacoste cash. The money which was supposed to be paying for food is the one which is paying beer for friends. Hi, boo, that's the life. So that's where the problem started. You understand what I mean? So it's a very tricky one, because when we get married for love, but when we get divorced because of all these other things except for love. Okay, sometimes maybe because you don't love each other anymore, but remember, the reason why you get to a point where you don't love each other anymore is because of all the small details, all the small things that happen throughout the relationship, which eventually make you start resenting that person, and then you fall out of love with them, But if you were to go back and say, what is the main reason, what is the actual thing that caused this separation or this divorce, you will find that it's got nothing to do with love. The root of it is not lack of love, it's something else, right? Okay, now I'm gonna move on to the next one. Aneli Muima says, do you sometimes miss him or miss the good times you had with him as a family? You know what, me and this guy, we drifted apart. I think I always say this, that Mina, emotionally and just physically, we got divorced in 2019. Like, our relationship came to an end in 2019. The rest of the years we were just sitting, nothing was happening. Emotionally, we were detached. We were divorced emotionally. We were not even sleeping together anymore. We were sleeping on the same bed. The gap which was in between us, both our kids could fit in there. So relationship wise, it was gone. So because once I realized that this is what I'm stuck with for the rest of my life, because I need you to understand how we got to a point where the relationship was gone, or where it was like my wake-up call. I don't know what his wake-up call was about me, but my wake-up call about him was that when I realized that I'm stuck with a guy who is financially irresponsible for the rest of my life, which means that now he's going to be my responsibility for the rest of my life. Because the way that I viewed him when we're still dating, or the first few years of our marriage, was that I saw a guy who's got a beautiful heart. I always emphasize that my ex-husband has a beautiful heart. I saw a guy who has a beautiful heart, and I thought to myself, you know what, it's just this one thing. This guy is working. So because he's working, all is not lost. We can just, and he's not a difficult person. Like, that guy can easily agree to everything, but when it comes to implementation stage, he's not going to do anything, So it took time for me to actually see, can't you agree to stuff, but you don't do stuff, right? But besides that, it was that thing, as long as he's working and he's not a difficult person, that means that actually we can sit down and then lay down the program to say, listen, you need to pay this debt, and then once we're done with this, then we can go back to normal. Meaning that when I was looking at my 80-20, I saw the 20 being just the finances and the 80 being everything else. Or this guy is, he's got a good heart. And I'm for hearts. I love beautiful hearts. you know. Okay, there are some things that I didn't know, that I discovered only after the divorce, that I was like, oh, can't, that heart is not so beautimous as I thought it was. But anyway, that's another story for another day. But what I'm saying is that because the 80-20, the 20 felt like something that can be dealt with, something that can be solved, I maintained, or I sustained, I focused on the 80 that I love about this person. Only after some time, then I realized, oh no man, this 20 is not going anywhere. This 20 is actually killing me, you know. Small as it may be in percentage, that 20 of him being financially messed up, you know, it's messing me up now, because he's dragging me into his mess with just that 20. So that's where the problem started. That's when I started realizing, well, hey, actually no, this 20 is a big deal, you know. I didn't think it was much of a big deal, and I got married to this person thinking, this is something which is going to be just a quick touch and go. But then when I realized, oh no man, things are still getting worse, man. It's getting worse and worse by the day. Then I was like, oh my gosh, this is definitely not the guy for me. Then we started drifting apart. We would attend therapy. When we attend therapy, it's just waiting for me to be okay. Then back to his normal ways. I was like, okay, this is the reality of my life. I'm stuck with somebody. I don't know this stranger that I'm stuck with. So we drifted apart so much that, because remember another thing, me and this guy, we don't like the same things, you know. In the beginning of relationships, people think that because they don't like the same things, they say opposite attracts. You know, it's better for one to be a loudmouth than for one to be quiet. One likes traveling, one likes sitting indoors. Meaning when you are traveling, the other one is sitting. But it's always nice to do couple goals things. But you can't do that because the other one doesn't like the things that you like, and what. So we never really even liked the same things. Like literally, we were just two different people, and that was a big problem. So besides that, we were like strangers, right? Like I said, we were like strangers for the longest time while we were married, that I would have so much peace and joy when he's at night shift the whole week. I would be having the time of my life with my kids. He would also be having the time of his life when I'm out of town. You understand what I mean? Because then he gets to be himself and live the life that he wants to live. So we were strangers staying in one house for the longest time, that even when we go separate ways, it was the only people that I was worried about were my kids, because my kids love their dad and everything, you know. So I was just worried about the kids. But even when we went our separate ways, it was just like that, you know, at long last, now I don't have to worry about this person being here, not being here, because I don't like them, you know. I don't like this person, they don't like me. So him as a lover, no, I could never meet him as a lover. Him as a family, him and I as a family, he was never in the house, this person, you know. We are not used to sitting together as a family. Like we could never spend an entire day sitting in the house with just me and him and the kids. He's never there. It's always me and the kids. If he's not out in the streets, he's at night shift, he's at day shift. So literally, this is somebody who is never in the same place as me. So even when we have to spend like a full day together in one room, it becomes a problem. It becomes weird. We fight and this and that, because we are not used to that type of life. Because in the beginning, when I used to complain about that, he's like, he wouldn't understand. What do you mean I don't spend time with you? I come home, you know. So it was just a big hoo-ha, okay. But yeah, that is that. So because of that, I don't really miss him as a lover, and I don't miss the family setup, because it kind of feels like it's still the same, because it has always been me and the kids and my assistant. Even now, it's me and the kids and my assistant. He would be at night shift, it would be me and my kids and my assistant. But I feel for my kids, you know, because obviously, in as much as it would always be on night shift, but when he comes back home into our bedroom, the kids will always run and spend the time with him and the works, you know. So now it's no longer a matter of them waiting for him to come home and then spend time with him. For them to spend time with him, they have to go to his place, you know. But the most important thing is that they get to spend time with him, and that's that. So in terms of me missing him, no, nah, I don't miss that guy. That guy, I miss somebody I dated before him, way before him, not him, you know. Maybe I'll miss him in the future, but as it stands now, okay, maybe one or two things that I could say that I would miss would be the fact that if the car is broken down, or the car needs to be washed, or we need to pour petrol, he would be the guy. So that I definitely miss. I definitely miss the fact that these small things that he would do, now I have to do them myself. But I can live. How many women are out there pouring their own petrol, getting their own, for crying out loud, I replace motors at work. I work with 17 spanner and 19 spanner. So what's a car? A car is nothing. A car is nothing. You know, I can do this thing. But yeah, I'm good. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Guys, I'm just browsing through the comments now. So when I'm quiet like this, don't think, hey, I'm just browsing because I see a lot of things here. that are not related to me responding to them. Okay, where's the next one? The next one says, this one I also absolutely love so much. Is from Viwe Mahlamvu. She's saying that you said that the reasons you had when you first got into your marriage can never be the same reasons if ever you were to get married again. Please unpack on what were your reasons for getting married the first time, and if ever you were to marry again, what would be your reasons or foundation for of that marriage? Okay. I absolutely love this question because it requires me to be very honest and transparent about where I was then and where I am now. Listen, this is 10 years ago. I was young and I was naive. Okay, that's a general answer. When somebody says, why did you get married to somebody you're not compatible with? Why did you get yourself into a messy situation? I was young and naive. That's a straightforward answer. But here's the thing. The things that I believed in and understood, those are the values of marriage when I was still young. When I got married the first time, I only found out when I was married, some of these things are a scam. This is the reason why right now I'm such a loudmouth in terms of things which are a scam in marriages and things which are real, because we have been lied to so much. Even with our elders, even those ones I don't want to talk about them because they're the biggest scam of them all. They can't tell you anything about a healthy marriage. I don't think they can relate to what a healthy marriage is. So I don't even want to talk about them. We grow up in homes where we have to wake up early, we have to cook, we have to clean. Literally, our parents prepare us for marriage. Our grandparents prepare us for marriage from a young age. So we grow up with all this set of skills and we are thinking, I should be able to be somebody's wife so that I can apply these things that I've been taught. I know how to cook, I know how to clean, I went and I got myself an education, I can do this, I can do that. So meaning that I qualify to be a wife material. So I have to be somebody's wife. So those are the things. And also another thing that adds on to that is religion. If you're a religious person at church, bazalwani, we will be tapping into marriage day in and day out. I receive marriage day in and day out. You will be getting prophecies about you being married. You know what? Pastors' wives and all and us who are married, we'll be doing hallelujah with our ring fingers. We'll be pretending as if we are happy going there to church, meshed and everything. Those are the things that actually contributed to me wanting to get married in the first place. Because then I didn't know the truth that I know now. No, actually, when people are matching going to church, it doesn't mean their relationship is good. Just because somebody is a pastor, it doesn't necessarily mean their relationship is good. Just because somebody is praying with you, it doesn't necessarily mean the relationship is good, is perfect. Just because other people are doing it, it doesn't necessarily mean you also have to do it. You don't have to be prepared to be a wife as a child. You have to be prepared to be a human being. You have to be prepared to be able to cook for yourself, to clean for yourself, to stand strong, to be independent. That's the teaching that we need as women, not how to be a good wife, who's going to marry you if you can't do this, if you can't do that. So that is the reason why I got married the first time. Okay, because of all the stuff, all the nganegwan that I learned as I was growing up. So now I had to redefine my definition of marriage and what it's all about. Hello, Mama. You want to buy what? Okay, so where were we before we got distracted? I think we're done with that one. I've answered everything. Did I answer everything? Okay, I think I answered the first part. Or Yahore. My reasons for getting married the first time. I had no idea. Basically, in a nutshell, I had no idea what I was doing when I was getting married the first time. I had no business getting married, especially to that guy that I got married to. Not because he's a monster, not because he's evil, but simply because me and him were like water and oil, and it was just a bad idea for me to get married to that guy. Now let's talk about me being able to get married again. This is the tricky part. It's dangerous. It's scary. Me realizing this was really scary for me. A lot of us, we want to get married for the second time because we want to prove that actually we're not failures. We can make a marriage work. It's just that we're married to bad people, wara, so I can do better. So we end up being stuck in marriages which are not even functional, which are worse than the previous marriages, and that is the sad reality of our lives. So now the thing is that with us being able to be stuck in these marriages, we have potential. If you have it in you, you can actually divorce for the second time, and you can actually divorce for the third time. The reason is that you meet a new person with a new set of good things and bad things. The guy that I dated after I got married, that I almost, he was actually the one throwing hints of marriage and stuff like that. he made sure that he did his homework. He watches my content, and he knows that the one thing that actually got me out of my marriage was financial abuse. So he made sure that financially he will portray this person who has money. Well, he does have normal money, doesn't have like money, but he was taking chances with me. He didn't know that my problems needed a whole lot of money, you know. But besides that, people who are always used to dating people who have less money than them, they are very toxic. Not all of them, but most of them, because a person will date you, and when they do something for you with their money, they expect you to worship the ground that you walk on. When you don't worship the ground that they walk on, they now call you disrespectful. They're very abusive, either with words, or they will abuse you physically. I could see the signs of this guy being abusive in all ways. Like, I feel like this guy was an all-rounder abusive type of guy, verbally abusive, you know. So then I realized, one could easily fall into the trap of being married to this guy, because this one thing that made me leave my marriage is actually sorted this side. But all the other stuff, remember we spoke about the 80-20, all the other 80 is out the window, meaning that he only brings the 20. Like, this guy emotionally, he is wreck. He's an emotional wreck. Yana himself, there's a lot of self-love that he needs to work on. So he doesn't want to do that. He wants money to pay his way out of that. He wants money so that other people can worship him. He's like one person who's always praising himself. He wants to be important all the time. Wara wara wara. Like, literally, if instead of him saying to me, "You are beautiful," he would say, "I picked well." It's always about him. So he is even worse, you know. So, but then I thought to myself, Raibo, so one could easily be stuck with this guy. You know, I could be stuck with this guy, and I could get married again, and I could get divorced again. So where I'm standing right now, I don't think I know yet what qualifications or qualities I would need in a man for me to say I want to get married to him again. I believe that even if I get married the second time, obviously with all this intelligence, emotional intelligence, me being woke and everything in between, this is obviously going to contribute in me deciding whether a guy is good for me or not. But the main reason why I would get married, because a heart is a heart, guys. You know what? A heart is a heart. That this thing has got a mind of its own. It's minding its own business there, and it doesn't care what the rest of the body is saying. So I could easily get married to somebody that I feel like, you know what, with all this knowledge that I have, me being woke, me being careful, me being alert, I could get married to somebody who shows me flames in a different angle, and I could get divorced again. So as we speak right now, I can't tell you what it is that I would be looking for in the next relationship for me to get married. But one thing I know is that I want people who can communicate with me, and I want somebody who is emotionally intelligent. How I gauge emotional intelligence is when I speak to you as an individual. But just because you are emotionally intelligent, Lorna, it doesn't mean that I might not get divorced for the second time. So this thing, haina guarantee. Haina guarantee. This life no balance. So I don't even want to lie to you and tell you that I will be able to balance it. I don't want to lie. If I get married and get divorced again, you will judge me and unjudge me. You will find me here because I would have tried, and it would not have worked out. And that's just how life is. And if I get married and I don't get divorced, we thank God. We thank God we found the rib of ribs. Okay. Now we're moving on to the next one, guys. Like, literally I can speak for hours. If we can go on a speaking competition, and I can speak why non-stop. Okay, there's another one is from Riranzu Lavishibambo, who is saying, mouthful, divorced for financial freedom. Now he has same commitment as per maintenance order, and he doesn't pay. What's upsetting is that my family says I must help. Okay, pay. And I'm like, I divorced him for that. Not going. Okay, let me read this again. This is not a, guys, don't judge me. English is not my mother tongue. This is not a question. This is somebody. This comment. Yeah, this is a comment. So I'm gonna read it and just give it my 2 cents worth, because it seems like it's something which is worth me putting here on this video. It says here, mouthful, divorce for financial freedom. Now he has same commitment as per maintenance order and doesn't pay. What's upsetting is that my family says I must help pay for him, and I'm like, I divorced him for that. Not going that route again. Let him take it. That's where I'm at as well, guys. To say, if I divorced you because I was strained financially, and you still behaving the same way you used to behave when we were still married, now you don't have to, thank God I don't have to deal with you. The court will deal with you, and I'm not gonna help you with anything. Like, I'm not even good. You can call me beta all you want, but I'm not helping a man. I'm not helping a man. I left this marriage because I was tired of helping a man. So now he will carry his cross. He will do his part. Okay, moving on to the next one. um how is dating as a single mom and a divorcee? I feel like, let me start with as a divorcee. As a divorcee, I think we read too much into it. We read too much into it because as a divorcee, there's no difference between me and somebody who was in a relationship and the relationship didn't work out. I know a lot of times, I even did a video about this in the past, to say people will sometimes make you feel like they're doing you a favor by dating you because you are divorced, you are returned goods, so you must behave, you must worship the ground that they walk on. No, it doesn't have to be like that. Me now, as a divorcee, I even forget my divorce status, because I think another reason is because I'm not ashamed of the fact that I'm divorced. So if I'm dating you, you are dating me, you are dating Perseverance Marimin. It doesn't have anything to do with my status there by the Home Affairs. The fact that when I fill in forms, I cross divorcees. We leave that to the forms when we have to fill the forms. Me and you as an individual, we're gonna treat each other good. We're gonna make a relationship work if it has to work. If it's not working, it's not working. It's got absolutely nothing to do with the fact that one is divorced and one is not. And in my opinion, I feel like people should just divorce. People who are divorced should date other people who are divorced, because they understand how life can really take you all the way down to the grave and out after 3 days, okay, as a mom, still as a mom, it's no different from when you are just a mom, because the first thing obviously that you have to do, you have to protect your kids from showing them all boyfriends, because there's no guarantee that relationships are going to work out. I always say that the guy who is going to meet my kids will be the guy who's going to be marrying me for the second time, meaning that if I decide for whatever reason that I'm never getting married, that means my kids will never know who I'm dating. That means I'm never bringing a man in my kids' life. I can bring, like, the thing is, I have friends who are male and my kids know that, but I will never be in a situation where a man must come and sleep in my house in the presence of my kids, and my kids know that me, I'm doing with this man the same things that I used to do with their dad. There's nothing wrong with me dating, but right now I feel like my kids are in a place where they just need to be processing. I need to give them time to process the divorce, so I don't want to bombard them with anything. What my ex does on the other side with him bringing kids, women over to the kids, that's none of my business. Yeah, so that's that. Let's move on to the next one. What is the next one? The next one is saying, from Patuchezo Matumba. Patuchezo Matumba is saying, Madam, my question is your ex-husband allowed to visit the kids? And what was the relationship between the kids and him? My ex-husband and my kids have a beautiful relationship. They've always had a beautiful relationship. He has always been a hands-on dad to my kids. He loves them. One thing that I know for sure is that my ex-husband loves them. I may not agree with his parenting style. As an individual, he's reckless in my opinion, but when it comes to his kids, like, he loves his kids. There are so many things that I feel like he could rectify in terms of him parenting his kids. I feel like he could spend more time with his kids. I feel like he could learn to say no to the kids and not say all the time, not buy them everything that they want all the time, not try to buy them as I would like to see it all the time. But in general, as a dad, he's a great dad. He is a great dad. I always say that with my dad, my relationship with my dad is more or less the same as the relationship that my kids have with their father. As a husband, I don't know how my dad was as a husband, but as a dad, top notch. My ex-husband as a husband, garbage. As a dad, top notch under the circumstances. Okay, so yeah. Now on to the next one. The next one, guys, I just closed that thing. Ew. Guys, Pella, these things I'm reading from an Android. I don't know how to operate an Android. Okay. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, I think that is the last one, guys. That is the last one, because the last one here is just a comment where somebody is saying, it's Bukudo Muhali is saying, I don't know what research those people in your area think they did, but your story is financial abuse, and it's not the first, it's valid. It's too bad for them that I never seek validation from them, and I won't start today, so they can go jump off a cliff if they want. And guess what, with my divorce content and my bitterness and everything, I just need to rub in the salt to say I made it to YouTube Black Class of 2023, while they're sitting at home saying, hey, they are the real abuse survivors, and because they are real abuse survivors and they didn't talk, I like attention, I like this, I like that. Look at me now, Wanamu. With that being said, thank you so much, guys. If you'd like me to do another part 3, Comment down below, tell me. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, to like this video, to share this video, to what else, subscribe to my channel. That's what you do on YouTube, right? Yeah, that's what you do. All right, thank you so much. I love you. God bless and good night.